Major mistake. I just answered the phone. I should not have done it. Rachel left the room. I know. Biggie has told me a million times, don't answer the phone when I'm not here. I protect you, you know.
But something about you is you just cannot you cannot not answer the phone when it rings.
You know, Rachel is allowed to use the bathroom, all right? She leaves the room. She says, I'm going to use the bathroom. Okay,
Which is a bit of a change because our man Biggie does not.
He does not.
He holds it. He drinks a lot of fluids.
It's funny you mention that. Okay, this is a blinding you with science right here.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue, blinding you with science.
She blinded me with science.
Health experts are now saying holding your urine for long periods of time, especially for women, can lead to even worse health effects than thought before. UTIs, those urinary tract infections, and of course, it makes it more difficult later to go to the bathroom, which causes more bacteria and is a more likely chance for UTIs.
Any chance? This is going to be awkward. There's no easy way to bring it up, Kelly. But you've shared with that your wife when you travel does not use public toilet.
No, won't, refuses.
So she prefers to travel with the toilet in vehicle.
Oh, yes, she does.
Or hold it until she can get home.
Well, we used to travel with a toilet in vehicle for our children. Did you know this about us? No, Rachel is.
No.
No.
It's a sad, embarrassing detail.
How are you? Now, I don't know if other women are like this, like my wife. She hates public toilets. She refuses to use public toilet. Do you have any problem with that?
I don't, but you know, you don't know this about me. I have some kidney problems, so I have to go to the bathroom kind of a lot, and so I just get over it. I mean, honestly just close your eyes.
Yeah, right.
You'll be all right.
Now, my wife Rachel has perfected the art of hovering. That's I think that's why she goes to yoga.
I've heard that's not good for you either.
She's got wait a minute. She's got
the core.
She's got great core. Let's just face it, great core.
So she never touches a public toilet, but she uses them.
Her quad strength is unbelievable. Yeah, she refuses to touch the public toilet seat. Well, my wife hates it. So what she does instead is hold her urine for 6 days.
Disney, Tennessee, the beach,
all of it. But by the time we pull back into the driveway after a vacation,
she's first through the door, as we like to say.
She always says, "Get out of my way," and then she has to do the penguin walk to even get there. And she's like, "I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it." And I always say to her, "You should just use the public toilet. I mean, I know it's germy, probably, but like you just said, close your eyes." A good friend of mine said to me once, "It's your ass. It's not your face." You know.
Have a seat. So that's what he was implying. You know, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah. A dear friend, some things really stick with you through life. And he said, "It's your ass, it's not your face." I was like, okay. Every time I sit on a public toilet now, I'm like, it's my ass, it's not my face. You know, big deal, you know? So anyway, Rachel leaves. She's got kidney problems. She goes to the bathroom. We allow it. It's fine. The phone rings.
And you're just twitching.
I stare at
BB Shea and I are just making small talk, and you're twitching.
I'm twitching. I feel like,
Phone's ringing. Phone's ringing.
And then at first I thought I'd just say, "Hold on. Rachel will be right back." She protects us. She protects me from all the people that hate me. And so this time, though, instead.
It's like one of those video games that you really can't win.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to outnumber her.
Exactly. So this time, pick up the phone, and what do we get? First, he starts off with, "Hey, man, you want to play some Blue Oyster Cult?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll play some Blue Oyster Cult." And then he calls me the worst possible slur anybody can be called. It's a gay slur. And I was like, "Are you just saying that to me?" He goes, "Yeah." And then he said it again and hung up. And there I am, just on the other end of that.
You know, it really is amazing, and Rachel can attest to this. I've sat in that room as well as she has, and I'm sure as Biggie has. Yeah. I've answered hundreds of phone calls. Yeah. That's never happened to me before.
Never happened to you before.
Only until you pick up the phone does that happen.
That's it.
That's hilarious.
No.
I mean, it's kind of funny.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. It'll stick with me just like that ass face thing. It'll stick with me. Yes. So now I'm off answering phones.
If he got through to me, he wouldn't have said it, probably.
No, he wouldn't.
It was just because he got to you.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't like it.
Interesting.
But Biggie always tells me, "What are you doing? Don't answer the phone. You know people can't stand you." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's
you need a barrier."
I need a barrier. That's right. So you're just gonna have to deal with your kidney problems. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I read as funny as it sounds, we're talking about urination in humans. I read this little brief article today before the show. Had some time to kill, and there's just like an amalgamation of stories, and this one caught my attention. It was the invention of toilet paper. And toilet paper in the United States, and how do we get so hooked on toilet paper? And the man was writing an article about he has 2 young kids, and sometimes they can't hold it.
Right.
So they pee on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And from there, he said he started doing some research into Romans. And, when you picture the Romans, they wore togas. And in the olden times, historians, and he's an archaeologist, and he said he has seen evidence that Romans would urinate in their homes into a jar, and then they'd take them outside and pour the urine into a larger jar. And then someone would pick up the large jars of urine and take them down to the laundromat because the Romans learned that ammonia is in our pee.
Yeah.
And they would wash everybody's togas in the urine.
With pee?
They would fill up like a bathtub with togas and urine and stomp on them like you would see stomping on grapes up to their ankles.
Oh my God. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. They're cleaning the togas with tea.
The ammonia got them clean. Now, they must have sprayed something on them to get that smell out.
Yeah, some lavender or something.
Something.
Yeah.
God, so they're walking around with pea-stained togas on, sprayed with like a perfume item.
Yeah.
God.
They'd send you away for doing something like that.
That's probably why perfumes were invented.
It may be.
Wow.
Because we stunk as humans.
That's funny. I just read a headline that said if you're buying knockoff perfumes, they literally could have human urine in them. The perfumes could, and I don't even know how.
Cringe.
I just saw that headline.
Does this change your Christmas gift for your wife?
Yeah, that's
Are you going to have to go shopping right after the show?
Now that you mention it, yes. That gift I thought that was so good.
You bought what you think is the gift of all gifts.
I do believe I've bought the gift of all gifts, but I hope it doesn't have pee in it. God, that would be terrible. As a woman,
before you open it, let me look at the ingredients.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that literally knock off like inexpensive perfumes sometimes have human urine in them. And I don't know.
Is this the stuff you'd see on the streets of New York?
I think
or
so.
in cheap drugstores or your dirt malls?
I think the dirt malls and the streets of New York. It was that kind of knockoff
Calvin Klein.
Yeah, that's supposed to be $100 for a tiny bit. It actually cost you $10. They say it has human pee in it, perhaps. Wow. Well,
that's cheap and plentiful.
It is. The holding of the pee can have dangerous health risks, even more dangerous than they thought, for UTIs and so forth, which makes perfect sense, My wife, I shouldn't say this. Kristen mentioned that we used to travel with our toilet in the minivan. And
it's built for children, but she used it too.
She used it once or twice. So we'll say that one time we pulled over on the side of the road and my knee hit the button that made the tailgate go up, and there she was, poor thing, right out there on I-85. That was a difficult time for sure. Here's the other. We're blinding you with science.
She blinded me with science.
Someone is asking, in fact, claiming that they caught chlamydia from using gym equipment, touching gym equipment that had not been cleaned. And the woman says that she touched the gym equipment and then wiped her eye with a towel that had been placed on the seat that had not been cleaned. And tests later came back and said she had chlamydia. Now, usually you get chlamydia. It's a sexually transmitted disease. But she says she has not been sexually active in over a year and had to get it.
Sure, Jan.
Okay.
That's one of those things you can't win when you tell this story.
Right. Because
most people believe
that she's been,
that you can only get it. I mean, that was the old myth.
Chlamydia?
Well, mostly it was gonorrhea, that you could catch it from a toilet seat.
Yeah.
Which I think it may have happened once in recorded time, that these germs can maybe live,
right?
Whatever it is, the virus, whatever it is, can live on the
toilet seat.
On the toilet seat. Then you come right along.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
that's why you hover.
I was reading that the reason, this is all about toilets now. The reason public toilets have the U-shaped,
the horseshoe
lid, is because it prevents things like germs from being. If you have the like most homes, the ring, it's more chance for there to be urine on the front of the seat. That it could wind up being in places the germs, in your vulva or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. For
It was
women.
fun to watch that.
yeah.
It was fun to watch that sentence just tumble over a cliff
I don't like
with a young lady in the room.
I don't like talking about this in front of her. She's
And yet you mumbled vulva.
I know.
I'm trying to figure out how to approach it.
I don't know how to
do I
approach
say
it.
this?
I don't know how to approach
Because your
it.
lady parts are
Right there, and
Vulva.
you know what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden you got bacteria.
Look,
and
just
your
play some Blue Oyster Cult. Let's get out of here.
Jeez. Oh my God. A doctor on TikTok, his name's Dr. Joe, TikTok doc, was asked, can you get chlamydia from touching dirty gym equipment?
Can you really get chlamydia from gym equipment? Well, we all know it's primarily spread through doing the deed, not through casual contact or touching surfaces. So unless you're doing something very unusual with those gym machines, you're safe. But you do have to worry about MRSA, ringworm, and skin warts. So make sure you wipe down the equipment before and after you use it.
So he says no.
talking to you, Kelly.
That's right. He says no to chlamydia, but yes to all those other things. MRSA was one that, remember for a time, MRSA was really bad.
I mean, it can be rampant in locker rooms. Like sports teams will get it.
Get
It'll
MRSA.
run through. Yeah, because
That's a terrible thing. Yeah.
that's why you have to wear shower shoes.
There was a guy here years ago, worked in the building and had a friend that had invented something that he said if you sprayed it on your hands, remember that? You could wash your hands. And it because MRSA was really in the news probably 15 years ago. It was like a lot of people were getting MRSA. And so he made a product called the Mercenator that if you washed your hands in, it was a liquid like a soap.
That's right.
It was like, it looked like antibacterial soap. And if you used Mercenator, it would prevent MRSA. And our colleague invested in it and said, this is going to make me a billionaire because this is going to go crazy. But unfortunately, the logo, it looked like it was called...
You fumbled the launch.
I did. We were advertising. I called it Mr. Sanator because it looked like... Because it was Mercenator.
Mercenator.
But, I mean, if you just looked at the logo, it's like, oh, Mr. Sanator.
The previous segment of Blue Oyster Cult is brought to you by
Mr. Sanator.
Mr. Sanator.
Sales plummeted. And
He never got off the ground.
Never got off the ground because it was spelled like MRSA Nator.
Yeah.
But MR looked like Mr. Sanator. It was Mercenator. And later, the inventor, apparently he screamed at his radio every time I said Mr. Sanator. Because it's the Mercenator. And
What he's doing now.
Chris Tim's right.
With style.
Never got off the ground. Yeah, he's got bottles of Mercenator all over.
He has a grudge against you? after all
He
these
does.
years?
It's very possible. And he's got buckets and buckets of Mr. Sanator.
You know, I've always thought it was a shame that chlamydia was a venereal disease. It's such a pleasant sounding word, you know?
Chlamydia.
Yeah,
Like
it could have been used for something totally
for
different.
something
you know?
else. I know, that's true.